So is the word. Sew a needle, pulling thread. Sew a needle, pulling thread. So the best we could do, this is my theory. My theory is the way the government takes your money from you is the best we can do. It's short of organized crime. Fraud. It's organized fraud. It's organized crime. The best we can do to manipulate public opinion is short of organized racketeering. It really is. But it's the best we can do, and it's the most legitimate service we can come up with for the people. Because it has to be a social contract. That's the word they're not using a lot of times. A lot of these people online, ideologues and on, whatever they are, whatever they call them, et al. Whatever it is, they don't come to what they're talking about is social contract. It's a social contract. The new social contract is highly complicated, and it's very emotionally involving, and it's developed. People really do feel a fear. They know when they're going to do something wrong, and they know when they're doing something right. They know when it's going to be something that'll lead them in the direction that the government's happy with them, and the direction where the government's displeased with them. Like, it's become a very intimate social contract, and that intimacy has begun because of social media, but because of social insurance numbers, social security numbers, because of services, more and more information. The more information the government has of you, the more intimate they get. They don't want to, but that's what happens. That's what happens. So we're in a social contract like we've never been before, and that's what they're afraid of. Is there an oracle in the morning? Hi Siri, I put my left hand on this and pledge an allegiance. You know, that kind of idea is exaggerating, but the reason these guys were thinking of all this was because they were pretty sure that there was going to be something like this. Here you go, brother. Hope you no problem. And then there's people that are outside of the system, and those are the homeless. And in Canada, they're not outside of the system. It's a choice, actually. Homelessness is a choice, believe it or not. In some provinces, at least the ones that I know of, they ask you, do you have a living space, or do you prefer to live outside and go to shelters? Because there's a different stipend for both. One helps you get rent paid, one gives you just what average rent. It's like a little less. And I was like, are you serious? They're like, yeah, it's a lifestyle choice. And what it is it's the drug system. It's the cash system. It's the street system. And that's a part of society too. That's the only one thing that still requires cash. And that still requires, it's the scariest part of society. Everything else is in an umbrella, in a large, elaborate umbrella. So that's what I'm trying to say. It's organized crime, and it's organized racketeering. It's organized fraud and organized racketeering at its best, the best we could do. There's a huge, unavoidable hypocrisy that takes place in human standards, and it's hard to know why. It's hard to know why. You can keep cleaning it up. Say, well, okay, where is the problem? Okay, here, they're stealing from this and they're stealing from that. Okay, is that stealing? How do you rationale? What's your rationale that it's stealing? Okay, if we corrected that, would it still be stealing? Well, if we did this or did that, then that would suffice to say it's stealing, but we're giving them something in return of equal value or more value over generations. Then suddenly you have a different dialogue. So the problem is exactly that this is about hypocrisy and man in government, man in society, man in government, not society, man in government. And is the answer being angry and rebellious? No, because that's also failing. We're seeing rebelliousness is causing more dilapidation and recurring systems that come in place that are worse than the last. So what's happening is people are rising, but what they're getting is a worse deal than the ones they used to have. Regime change isn't solving the problem. Revolution and rebellion is just causing failed episodes that keep coming again and again. And that's all. I think that's what I wanted to share, that times are changing. The world is coming into a new world order, and there's a kind of system that sits so large that it's hard to beat it. But at the same time, it has a lot to offer mankind because there's still so much to do. And that's pretty much my deal. That's my deal. That's what I believe.